All right, Pickle, it's time for Helpful Honda Mailbag Friday.
The North Texas Honda dealers want to help you score some great deals on award-winning Hondas. Stop by your Helpful Honda dealer today or visit ntxhondadealers.com to learn more.
If you got questions about high school football, college football, recruiting, lifestyle, romance, travel, books, let us know in the comments. We're going YouTube today, right? YouTube and Facebook?
Yep.
Okay, YouTube and Facebook. We're going to try to start matriculating over to YouTube, but if you got one of those, let us know. Pickle, has anybody asked any questions?
Ton of stuff going on in the comments right now about
Is it
whether...
mostly nice?
Yeah.
Okay.
About whether...
Is it about our cookies? Look at that. That's so nice. Like, I know for a fact that, like, this isn't all that special in the sense that, like, it's not like somebody took it, like, by hand and was like, oh, I'm going to craft it in Davey. Like, they just printed it on there.
Yeah, but still.
I think it's super cool.
Well, I was just going to say, you've been here for, 11 years, and you've never seen a cookie with Dave Campbell's?
I've never seen a Dave Campbell's cookie. How about that? Thank you.
So cool.
Thank you, Flavor Velocity. Okay, go on.
The Flower Shop. About whether or not Cade Clubnick is playing tonight, and the answer to that question is yes.
Let's go to our insider, Ashley Pickle.
We did hear, it was in the comments the other day that Todd Dodge had said on Craig Way's show on the Horn that he was playing. I did talk to Coach Dodge yesterday morning and reiterated that and asked if it was true, and he said yes. He said without hesitation, he was like, he's healthy, he's ready to go. So yes, according to Coach Dodge, Cade Clubnick will be the starter tonight against Lake Travis.
From what I understand about the situation, they have had to hold him back, like in the sense of like he wants to go out there and play,
right.
And they've said, no, dude, like we need you to get right and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And now I think they've reached a point where he is right enough that they are happy, they're okay sending him back out there.
Right, and I think that it'll hit a point tonight where if he starts to try to do too much and come back too hot, I think that you'll see him and Dodge on the sideline of Dodge kind of telling him, hey, man, like, you need to not try and do that right now. Like, don't do too much.
So the other thing about this is interesting, is if Dodge wanted to play pure long game here,
mm-hmm.
there's no reason to play him tonight.
No.
None. Like, yes, it's a rivalry game, and I understand that everybody wants to win that game. But at the same time, it's like, why? Like, it doesn't. You have the number one seed in Division II locked up. Whether you beat Lake Travis by 150 or you lose to Lake Travis by 150, it doesn't matter. So obviously this means something to him. And
mm-hmm.
Look, it probably means something to Cade Clubnick. I'm sure he was
his own advocate.
I'm sure he was lobbying on his behalf to go out there and play.
Well, the other thing that was funny too is I had talked to Coach Carter earlier this week too, and he was the one that basically he's got quite a few guys coming in, specifically on the defense. They've got a defensive back and a defensive lineman coming back in from injury, so they've kind of ridden that injury bug a little bit throughout the season. So he was the one that said, I think I can speak for Coach Dodge and myself both on this one of the main goal for tonight's game is to not get anyone injured. Like, I think they're both in that thing of if anyone starts to look like they're limping a little bit or hurting or in pain, they're not keeping their guys out there, either one of them.
No, I think I think they're smart. I think that's the way they probably ought to play it. And yeah, it's an interesting bit of gamesmanship, but obviously it sounds like he's going to play. Part of me also, there's a very, very, and Todd Dodge is a very trustworthy person. I want to be clear about that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a small part of me back here
that wonders if he's playing, and I wondered that. I really, really wondered
that. Believe it when I see it.
That's why I wanted to ask myself, even after he had said that, because I wanted to see how quick he responded, or if it was a, and he responded quick. So we'll see if he's just good at.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out.
Pulling strings there.
All right, what's next, Pickle?
Let's go with, does Region 4, 5A Division 2 stand a chance against Region 3? And if so, who would that be?
I will say that they are underdogs. Okay, so here are the favorites in some sort of order in Region 4. Okay, it could be a team like the winner of tonight's game between Leander Rouse and Glenn.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Leander Rouse and Brenham, I should say. One of those teams. It could be Liberty Hill.
Yeah.
Right? Who, of course, is the reigning regional champion. It could be San Antonio Alamo Heights.
Let me say, don't bury Bernie Champion. I saw a really bad game that they played, but they were completely injury-ridden. Like, they've got a good team when they've got their guys in.
Bernie Champion is certainly a team to keep an eye on.
Marble Falls.
If you want to dream on a team from the Valley, maybe it's a team like Mercedes, right? That would be dreaming on a team from the Valley. So for me, I would say that, I would look at this game, or I would look at it and say they're going to be underdogs. Because Region 3, I think, is deeper. Region 3, I think, has more contenders.
Yeah.
But you only got to face one.
Yep.
Like, maybe it's Fort Bend Marshall, maybe it's Crosby, maybe it's Montgomery, maybe it's A&M Consolidated, maybe it's Texas High. But you only got to face one.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that they're going to be an underdog. Do they stand a chance? Yeah. Would I install them as an underdog? Yes. Functionally, like, if it was like, let's just pick two teams at random. If it was Fort Bend Marshall against Liberty Hill, okay? If it was Fort Bend Marshall against Liberty Hill, I would say that Fort Bend Marshall's a 2-touchdown favorite. That's me talking. That's just me saying that right now. That would be the way that I would view that game. We'll see. Strange things happen. Injuries happen. Things like that. You don't know. But right now, I would say Region 3 is a clear favorite over Region 4 and 5A Division 2. What's next, Pickle?
Let's go. Todd Gleaton wants to know, does China Spring get a challenge from Waco Connolly?
Connolly's... okay, here's what I'll say about Connolly. Okay, probably
no.
not.
I'm just gonna say no.
I
honest.
just don't think that Connolly can keep up defensively.
No.
I think that Major Bowden's going to put on a show tonight. I think that's the biggest problem for them. I will say this: Connolly's got some cats. Connolly's got Trey Wisner, who's a monster. They've got him, and when you've got him, you're going to have a chance. I would say that China Spring's a clear favorite in this game to finish off a perfect regular season. But Connolly certainly has a couple of athletes that can give China Spring trouble. That is, for me, the biggest thing. So, yeah, I would lean towards China Spring in this one.
Mm-hmm.
What's next?
This is a really good question. If you're locked into the playoffs already and your last game is against a winless team, if you were the coach, how long would you play your starters?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a fair question.
And
I would play them into the third quarter.
It's so situational, too.
It is. It is.
Because just because you're playing a winless team doesn't necessarily mean that, like, the other, like, if you're trying to still win a district championship, it can go back and forth.
I think that let's put it this way. I think that this is my thing, and there's no honor among thieves, to be clear. But if there is any sort of playoff implication involved in the game on either side, I think you owe it to football Jesus to play the game straight.
Yeah.
Now, I would have a much quicker hook for my guys than I otherwise would. For instance, there may be games where you're up 34-0 and you keep your starters into the fourth quarter. I would probably have a quicker hook on guys. But I do believe that if that team that is winless has an opportunity to get into the playoffs, you owe it to football Jesus to play it straight until the game is in hand.
I'm sure football Jesus appreciates you.
I'm just saying, I think there's...
Like, thinking about what he would like.
I think there's just got to be some honor, you know what I mean? And I think that if you played it straight, because the other thing you owe it to is you owe it to the other teams in your district that you certainly played it straight against, right? Mm-hmm. And if you are doing... You would then be doing the team that you're playing a favor by taking it off the gas pedal, right? Mm-hmm. I would say that you owe it, the football Jesus. Don't make him mad. He's a vengeful Lord. Mm-hmm. What's next, Pickle?
Let's talk about the biggest two games in Class 3A Division 2. One of those would be Childress and Canadian, and the other one would be Tulia and Spearman.
Yeah, same district too. Okay, well, we'll start with the big one, which is Childress and Canadian. So I made this point on Tep and Step, and I also made this point on Craig Way's show yesterday. On paper, there is almost no reason to pick Canadian in this game. Almost no reason. Mm-hmm. Childress is undefeated. Childress looks the part. Childress is rolling. Childress has the single individual best playmaker, in my opinion, in Colin Bishop. Childress has the better defense. Childress looks the part. There's no reason. And Canadian, by the way, very banged up. Canadian, 2 losses coming off of a rather substantial loss to Tulia, the aforementioned Tulia. There's no reason to pick Canadian in this game. Except the one small little thing, which is Childress ain't beat Canadian since 1999.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I think, 14 straight they've beaten them. Canadian has the deed to Childress. Okay, they own them. They are not just in their kitchen. They are redecorating the kitchen, making eggs, making pancakes, asking what you like for breakfast. They are owning Childress historically. This game's in Canadian. This is a mental game for Childress. I'm comfortable saying that they're the better team, right? They've shown themselves to be the better team. But does that matter? That's the real intrigue in this game. I picked Childress, but this is very dicey here, I would say. The other game, Tulia and Spearman, is a huge game with major playoff implications. Assuming Friona beats Highland Park, Amarillo Highland Park, which I think is a pretty fair assumption. I think Friona is going to be a pretty heavy favorite. The computer has them as a heavy favorite in that game. Then Tulia and Spearman becomes a straight-up playoff game. Winning in, losing out. Tulia is right in the heater right now. They've got the big win last week over Canadian. If they play like that, then they're not going to have any trouble. My question is going to be, can that offense continue to cook the way that it did? I thought their quarterback, Trayvon McCaslin, was on one last week. If he has a big game like that, then they're going to be very dangerous. I lean towards Tulia in that game. I think that I'm going to ride the hot hand, even on the road at Spearman. But that game's a coin flippy type game. I'm very interested in that one. For Spearman, their defense has been probably the best part of their team. Can they get that offense in gear? And if this game gets into a shootout, they're probably not built for that. So that's a big question for me. I like Tulia in that one. I'm going to ride the hot hand. I guess I like Childress, although I don't feel good about it historically. What's next, Pickle?
Where do you know where anyone could get brackets for taps?
Yeah,
I know we don't do them.
Taps' website has them.
Okay.
It's taps. They have a weird ending to their. I mean that in a nice way.
EDCU.
No. It's taps.biz. I knew it was weird. Yeah, it's taps.biz. You can find the brackets over there. In fact, if you go to taps.biz/brackets, you can go there. They've got all the brackets up for 6-man football, 11-man football, and field hockey.
Ooh.
So there you go.
Dave Campbell's Texas field hockey.
I don't think that's got legs. I'm gonna be honest. Have you ever watched field hockey?
Not really.
There's a weird thing that you can only use one hand on the stick, I want to say.
What? I don't think that's correct.
I don't know how field hockey's played.
That sounds like cricket or something. I don't know.
No, you can use 2 hands on the bat in cricket. Okay. We're experts, as you can tell.
The start of Dave Campbell's Texas field hockey's going real well, man.
What's next, Pickle?
Okay, let's talk some college football. If you're Steve Sarkisian in Texas football, how does your mindset look heading into the rest of the season after blowing 3 double-digits leads in a row? I don't know. Finish?
Well, it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
Right? And it's one of those things that what you've got to fight against is the here we go again, right? That's going to sweep over your sideline. Because it felt like it swept over the sideline last week. I thought Texas was better than Baylor last week. For long stretches of that game until suddenly Baylor took a little bit of momentum and Texas kind of looked around and goes, oh, well, this is where we lose the game again. Yep. You got to fight against that. That's the biggest thing. Winning cures all. You didn't hear about these issues whenever they were winning. If you go out there and you beat Iowa State, which I think they're more than capable of doing, they go up there and beat Iowa State, then suddenly a lot of those problems kind of dissipate. I think a lot of this comes down to establishing the run with Bijan Robinson. I think it comes down to Casey Thompson taking care of the football and the defense getting off the field on third down. That's just been the biggest thing for them. Is they're giving up too many 3rd and 4s, 3rd and 3. Put them in 3rd and uncomfortable, especially Iowa State, who's not built to convert those types of things. Yeah, I mean it's a huge game. I will just say this: they're 4-4 right now. The difference between 5-4 and 4-5 is only one game, but it feels a lot bigger, right? Feels like it's a bigger game. So keep an eye on that. I would say a lot of it just comes down to whether or not they can keep the same game plan and keep it moving and jump out to a big enough lead. Or maybe they're just a kind of team that they need to play from behind. Yeah. Maybe that's it. Anyway, what's next, Pickle?
Who is the greatest threat to LBJ in their region?
Yeah. So LBJ is a team we haven't talked a ton about, and of course the number 1 team in 4A Division 1.
It's got to be, one of the Calallen.
I guess Calallen. I think Calallen's pretty flawed.
I think Miller's flawed too, to be honest with you.
I think Miller's flawed because I don't think Miller can play any defense. They can score.
PLC.
But but also remember, LBJ beat Miller last year, right? I would say maybe the 3 would be Calallen, Miller, and Bernie. I don't know. Bernie's interesting. Bernie's a little bit of a sleeper in my opinion. They're a team that I think because they have their quarterbacks. Blanking on the quarterbacks. Rashawn Galloway. Rashawn Galloway's been really good for them. They're kind of flying under the radar a little bit. I like this Bernie team, but I think that LBJ's got to be the favorite in this one. Calallen, I guess, because of the pedigree, is probably the chief challenger, but Bernie may in fact be the second best team in that region. Overall, I don't know. I would say it's Calallen or Bernie would be my teams. I just don't. I love Miller. I love what Lonnie Atkinson does. I love what that new quarterback brings to the table.
I think they would just get gassed by LBJ.
I just think the problem is that how are they going to get him off the field?
No,
I just don't know. And LBJ is going to get 3 stops and the game's over.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Because their defense would literally just be out there forever.
I'll say this: last night at the Pflugerville-Weiss game against Georgetown, that's kind of what happened.
Yep.
Is Pflugerville-Weiss's defense was giving up these long drives, but Georgetown turned the ball over 4 times, and Weiss scored on their first 9 possessions.
Yep.
So it was just over from there. And so that's kind of what I would say is that you look at a team like LBJ, they're going to be able to get 1 or 2 stops, and then can Miller can Miller get any stops?
Do anything.
Literally, that's going to be what's the stop rate? Is it 0%? Because if it's 0%, the game's already over. All right, let's do 2 more.
2 more. Let's go with. Have you ever been to an MLS game?
Yes, I have. I've been to an FC Dallas game up in Frisco. It was fun. I liked it.
It's a good time.
Max Thompson has hot takes on MLS.
Yeah, I know Ish loves going to the games.
Yes, Ish likes rooting against Austin FC because he's a petty man,
yes.
And I support him in that. Yes, I have been. I think they're fun. It's nice entertainment. It's a Toyota Stadium up there in Frisco. It's a really nice place to watch a game. Quality of play. As somebody who roots for a team in the championship, I shouldn't be criticizing quality of play, but the quality of play is subpar. But you know what you pay for.
And then finally, this is a good ender. What potential first-round games are you most excited about?
Oh, excuse me. We talked about 3A Division 2 and that kind of Region 1. What you've got to do is you've got to look at the strength of districts next to one another because, and start there. So District 3, 3A Division 2, and District 4, 3A Division 2. 3A Division 2 is Childress, Canadian, Friona, Tulia, Spearman, in some sort of order. District 4 is Lubbock, Roosevelt, Abernathy, Idalou. Coahoma is going to be 3rd place, presumably. Or maybe... No, I presume Coahuma's beating Reagan County. I don't know. Might be Stanton. That's not here nor there. So... You're going to have a couple games there. Mm-hmm. I think another game to keep an eye on next week, I think we're going to get DeSoto and Killeen Harker Heights. Mm-hmm. And I think Harker Heights can win that game.
What about your most precious H-Town boy, the Woodlands versus Spring?
Woodlands versus Spring is going to be a lot of fun. Big
Let
test for
me
Bishop Davenport
throw out a 9-1-5 game for you that I think would fly under the radar.
Okay.
I think Canutillo and El Paso Jefferson has some, because Canutillo would be the clear-cut favorite, but Jefferson, they've got something brewing over there. This will be their first time in the playoffs in a long time.
Jefferson's going to play with a lot of
underdog mentality.
pea and vinegar, let's say, they're going to come out there and they're going to be riding high, especially if they can, they get Andress tonight. If they can come out with an upset win and go in flying high, they're going to feel like they can beat anybody. The question is going to be on the defensive side because Cantillo's defense has been so good. But yeah, I think that's a game certainly I'll keep my eye on. And yeah,
what was the one down in the valley we were talking about for the first round?
Oh,
that would be really great to send a Valley reporter to.
Yeah, you
some
are pushing for that, aren't
some
you?
blonde girl.
I believe it's going to be Edinburgh
Vela.
No,
yeah.
hold on. Is that right? Yeah, Edinburgh Vela and San Benito.
That sounds like a banger. I mean, just throwing that out there.
Edinburgh Vela and San Benito could be a lot of fun.
It could be.
Yeah, you also get Harlingen South and PSJ North, which could be fun. I think.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you would like more and to be notified when they come out, go ahead and click that subscribe button right down there. You can also watch Texas Football Today every day live at noon on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, and right here on YouTube. For more of the best coverage of Texas football in the Lone Star State, go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe.